Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got 7 games for you guys here on Monday night. In this one, we're taking a look at probably the marquee matchup. There's a couple good games, but we got the Suns playing in Golden State. Once again, no Kevin Durant in a return that his team is making to the Golden State Warriors. But we will take a look at all the stuff inside this one. Pretty high total. Also have another game video and our player props up for you, so make sure to like and subscribe to that page. We are staying hot after a weird night last week. We had 2 good nights to end the week. So we are still pretty hot on those player props. Like and subscribe to that page. Also want you to head to thelines.com. You can check out all of the great written stuff we're putting up there as we come down the stretch here this NBA season. And we have that odds finder tool up there for you guys. You can make sure that you're seeing all the lines available to you from all those US sports books, giving us bets in this NBA season. Nate, let's go ahead and get into this slate for everyone and then talk about our game Dubs and Suns.
Yeah, marquee matchup maybe. I'll probably be watching Kings-Bucks in this late window, but sure. We got Jazz +7 at the Heat. Celtics are -12 at the Rockets. Pacers without Halliburton -3 at Pistons. The other game we break down, Wolves were +5 at Hawks. Totals at 245. It opened at 240. Grizzlies in a rematch at Dallas. It's basically a pick'em. Kyrie is questionable. Luka is out. The Bucks are -1 at the Kings here. Another 245 total. Giannis, as we say, questionable. And then Suns +4.5, right about where it opened. The total has been bet down from 240 to 236, with money still kind of coming in on the under. It might go lower. It's a really tough spot now at this point with the line. There is a trend here with the Warriors going under consistently at home, but also with them just winning at home. 9 of their last 10, 8-2 against the spread in that span, and the number 2 defensive rating in that span. And the Suns, you look at their exact different splits on the road, they have the number 2 defensive rating in their last 10 roadies, as well as the number 2 net rating, playing at a pretty slow pace of just 96. Obviously, without KD here, who you mentioned slipped in warmups, it's just baffling to think about that he's going to be out multiple weeks from just a little wet spot on the floor. But yeah, the Suns offense is going to be a little less prolific here. Even with him in there, I mean, their 3-point shooting went way up. Their efficiency went way up. Their pace was actually crazy slow in those first 2 with him on the road. So they went over by sheer efficiency. Previous 6 road games without KD, over in 5 of those, or 6 of the last 7. And you look at their 3-point shooting in the 8 road games before he got there, they're hitting just 9 a game, 33%. I mean, neither CP3 or Book are really going to look for their 3-point shot that much, so it is a lower volume situation. But with Booker, though, I am seeing the totally rounding into healthy form at the same time as getting Kevin Durant in there, and whether that helped his game by getting him more open shots or just kind of lit a fire under him to, whatever KD probably said is like, yo, this is still your offense. Like, I'm going to fit in. And he's just been on a tear with 36 points per game, 60, 50, 80 splits. Averaged 30.5 in 2 early meetings against the Warriors. And Steph came back in that second meeting with 50. That game totaled nearly 250 in Phoenix. The Warriors' defense has been elite lately at home, but their offense, as we know, much, much better at home as well. Also, the pace with Steph goes up so much, and he is a one-man over by himself. I actually would lean over if this does get bet down anymore. If you're looking at like a 232 to 35 range, I do think we're going over. But I think the stronger bet is just Warriors to win, or teasing that to the money line, so you get the total more in the direction you want. This is a bit of a revenge spot. It's obviously a contentious rivalry, and they had that weird game, right, where Phoenix's backups beat them by 12 last time out. I think that's more of a motivating factor than anything, and we know the Warriors take care of business at home. So I think we get on the right side of that and just take the home team here rather than the Suns without Durant.
Yeah, full transparency. I already hit the Dubs under at 239.5 because that's what we were talking about when I was going over these lines last night and taking some notes as I get the opportunity to do that when I'm on the West Coast, obviously, and get to stay up later and see all that stuff. And then it got bet down, as was what I thought would happen. And it scares me a little bit because the thing is like, what do you believe in here? Do you believe in the Dubs' ability to have been playing defense as of late and playing a little bit slower at home? Well, I'm sorry, a good amount slower at home than on the road? Or do you correlate the fact that they've been playing slower on the road or at home than on the road lately because in their last 5 road games, Steph was there, or their last 3 road games, Steph was there. Their last 5 home games, Steph was not there, right? So, like, yes, the home is slower and the road is faster, but Steph's been playing at home. Steph not been playing on road. So, right, what do you do with that right there? Because they've had 5 straight unders at home since the All-Star break. Before that overtime win versus Milwaukee, that was kind of crazy. But even that game was going well under until they had a 65-point fourth quarter and 19 points scored in overtime. So even in that fourth quarter 65-point barrage, they still weren't at the total in that game, which was 241. And I think that's why you already saw people start to bet this down. They were playing that game at a 104 pace. The Bucks play at the second fastest pace in the league. The Bucks were awful on offense in that game for most of the game. Obviously, Giannis didn't play, so that's going to be a huge part of it. And that helped the Warriors' defensive stats at home as they had a 101 defensive rating. But I would argue the Bucks had a 101 offensive rating more than the inverse, right? Because of how bad they were on that side, more than really the Dubs were that good. So, if you look at the difference in pace in home and road in general, yeah, they play a little bit faster on the road. It really just comes down to their defensive rating is just that bad on the road at 124 over their last 3 on the road versus the 100 defensive rating that they're playing with at home, right? And they're allowing 127 per game on the road versus like 104 at home right now. So they're getting defensive rebounds. They're averaging 40 defensive rebounds at home in their last 5. They're averaging 28 on the road because they just don't get defensive rebounds. They hemorrhage second chance points. They've also been getting more assists, but that's because Steph is back and they're going to get more assists when Steph is around. The ball keeps flowing even more when he's there. So I really put a little bit more stock in their ability to play defense at home. And I do think in these games, like the thing, once again, when these two teams have faced, the last 2 that they've played in Phoenix, it was like a 97 pace. The last 2 they play in Golden State, it's 103 pace. So they do just play a lot faster when these teams meet in Golden State. But I also think there's something to the idea that there's going to be a little bit of inefficiency in that Phoenix offense. I think losing KD, you've seen what they've done without him and with him, the contrast there, right? Like they went under in 6 of 7, I believe you might have mentioned, before KD arrived. On the road specifically, and then KD comes and they have 2 straight overs because he just makes everything from mid-range. They're still playing at a slow pace on the road with him, but they were just going over because what are you supposed to do when you have 2 of the best wing scorers in 2 of the 5 West in the league in him and Book right now. So, but with him they were scoring. They had 118 offensive rating. Without him, it was down to 110. Their D rating is way better actually on the road than it is at home, maybe because they don't really care about defense when they know they can just score at will at home where their offense is a bit better. They're limiting threes. They're not hitting threes, like you said. 9.4 made over their last 7 rather on the road at 33%. Only allowing 11. I mean, do with that number what you will when you're playing against the Dubs. Like just add at least 2 to what your average is, maybe 3, because the Dubs are not going to probably get below 13 or 14 made 3-pointers. It's just how they get 49% of their points. So that's how they're going to continue to score, because they're going to continue to hoist them from there. So I think the splits that tell you that the Suns play slower on the road, they play way worse offense on the road and much better defense. And then the Dubs just actually play defense at home. 236 still feels kind of high, as these teams have been going under more in Phoenix than they have in Golden State. So it is scary once you get down to 236. And I don't know that I'm going to put any more on this at lower than the 239.5 that I already hit it. But I also don't really feel like having to pick a winner. Although if I had to, I would lean Dubs because of how good they are at home and they have Steph. But once again, they've been decent in clutch, but they needed to come back because of an awful third quarter and beginning to the fourth in that Bucks game. So I just don't know when and where to trust them, even when they're playing good teams. And Phoenix is going to be getting up for this one.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's no Mikal Bridges. And you're looking at Steph, that 50-point game was kind of an anomaly when he's going up against Bridges in 11 games, 23 points per game. He's shooting 34% from 3, which is terrible for Steph, and not getting that many attempts either. up. You talk about limiting the team attempts it makes. A lot of that is just like what Bridges can do. It's why he was in the front of the Defensive Player of the Year discussion last year, is because he's one of the only guys that can check Steph Curry. So, I mean, I'm looking at him kind of going off. I would look at, there's often these bonuses for like Booker and Curry combined points. I think we will see those two going back and forth. Whether that, lifts the entire total so that we are getting into a high scoring game, it's tough to say at 236, but I think it's more advantage Warriors to say like Bridges is no longer in the picture than Wiggins is no longer in the picture. The Warriors, I think, still, Wiggins will be back at some point, but they still have guys to throw at Booker. It's less of a team flow for the Suns. We're more concerned about the Suns offense here in terms of getting us over because the Warriors are at home and because they have an elite defensive rating recently at home. So I think it's just another strong check to say if you feel like the total is set competitively here, let's just keep riding the Warriors at home -4 or tease with another game and just get that at even money. But I think they can cover 4 pretty easily if they are firing all cylinders and trying to deliver some revenge to the Suns team.
And maybe they will be. And Draymond's healthy, and so that's going to be crucial as well because he has had some success against DeAndre Ayton, who's been up and down when he's played against the Dubs here and there, and they've been much better inside as of late. And Von Looney, a big part of that is he's getting a lot more time as well, continuing to play above 30 minutes. So we'll see. Definitely, I think it's going to be a fun game. I really think it's either going to be pretty painfully slow compared to what we think, and this game ends in the 2 teens, low 220s. Or it's just I'm completely wrong, and this game just goes off for the 241, 242 total that they would be capable of. But I think we even, like I said, with Steph playing the way he was, I think with that defense playing better, I think they have an opportunity to go under as they should have and almost did without overtime in that game previously at home. So that's all the time we have for you in this one, though. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Got a pretty fun slate tonight, another game video and our player props as well up for you. So until we see you next, happy betting.